Welcome back to another Tactical Tuesday, guys, and I'm super excited about today's Tactical Tuesday. We're going to be breaking down another video that I found on, I think it was TikTok, and we're just going to go over the whole video and kind of go over kind of some of the do's and don'ts of clearing a building. I'm glad the guys are out there training and getting work in. Just try to remember, the whole premise of this video, this breakdown, is going to be slow is smooth, smooth is fast. The faster you go, the more things you're going to mess up. And yeah, so this is just a quick critique of about a slightly less than a minute long video or so of them clearing a building. They go, again, extremely fast. They clear a lot of stuff in just under a minute, which is good. You know, violence of action, get in fast, some of the basic principles of CQB and mount, but getting in fast cannot be is no substitute for doing things correctly or safely or things like that. So with that said, we're going to dive into it. But before we do, I want to thank Rain City Tactical for being a huge sponsor of this channel. We do have classes coming up starting next month. If you guys want to check that out, or if you guys are in the Kent area of Washington or in the PNW, hit us up. Go to the gun range, hit it up. They got an awesome gun shop. Obviously, I've talked about the membership before. Awesome membership fees. If you guys are, again, if you're in the local area, you also get a discount on one firearm purchase per year and a bunch of cool dudes, cool guys to support. They're also going to be opening up the ability to sell suppressors there as well. They already sell armor, so go check them out. With that said, let's dive into this video. So I believe this was from Hive Mind Tactics or something to that effect. I'll actually find their link and link it in the bio, link it in the description. But this is how it started out, the video. We're going to watch it through one time all together, and then we're going to go back and we're going to critique it. Now, I took the video and I modified it a little bit. I enhanced the color in the image, which I wish they would have done, before they posted it, so that you could see a little bit better. For example, in this area, it's like really dark. So yeah, I enhanced it. Let's watch it, and then we'll go back over it. Are you guys ready? Here we go. All right. So they come into the hallway. They get together. One guy posts up. They make entry. They're moving on. They make entry to another room. That's 2 rooms cleared. They've got a hallway. They're moving up. They're going to decide to go one way or another. They go to the left. They clear another room and another room simultaneously. And then they come up. And it looks like they're actually clearing down there. And they've already moved out. And then they're moving up. And then they're going to clear these rooms simultaneously. It looks like they're going to creep out and they're going to move together. And they're clearing to one side, and they're clearing another room together. Okay, so that's the video. So as you can see, it moved over right into this we're going to rewatch it with some of the notes that I've made. I'm going to expand this really quick for you guys. I don't know why it made it smaller. It shouldn't have. We're going to fix it really quick. Whoop. Whoop. And as you can see, it's way darker, right? So we're going to enhance this a little bit so we can see what's going on. Right? We like to see what's going on. All right, so again, I wonder why that got smaller. We're gonna move back a little bit and just see if there's anything else we could have done. All right, so here we go. So as we're coming up, we're gonna go frame by frame. So you can see that arrow pointed at the top right here. The one man comes up, and right here, right, we're already seeing his muzzle break the corner and so he's already exposed himself. If there's anyone at the other end of this hallway, he's already exposed. He's already letting them know he's coming. So he's also not wall body weapon. So the rifle is on his right shoulder, should be his left shoulder, right? So he comes out, he breaks at 90, still exposing himself, then still can't see around the corner. Guns up. You can see his arm come up right there. And he's like wheeling around the corner. Now his arm's exposed, right? Good portion of his body's exposed, still hasn't really broken the 90. So he's out, the gun's coming across, right? The camera starts turning. He's alone at this point, right? So even if he were to get taken out, let's say that there's a guy at the other end of the hallway, if he's taken out, his two-man back here can't see where he was engaged from, and can't get the trade kill on him, considering, you know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to, like, his buddy goes down, he wants to trade out that kill, he wants to, like, get the info, he's still not there, right? So that's what the arrow is for. It's showing that he's not there yet. He's also not wall body weapon, so when he comes to peek out, he's exposed before he can see the corner. His gun's up, and now you see it come out. You see that? Frame by frame. The gun's up at this point. The gun's just coming down as he's in the fatal funnel, right? Hallways are fatal funnels. So that gun needs to be down and peeking the corner with his eyes. All right, so we're going to go frame by frame, keep going, keep going, keep going. We're moving forward. Unlock this really quick. Go a little faster. We're moving forward. So now we're pointing out that there's a doorway on the right, right? So realistically, this man right here should be focused on this corner, and he should be focused on the door, right? You should have interlocking sectors of fire, and if you're on the opposite end, you're able to see deeper into the corner, right? But he's too far back to be able to really do that. This guy's kind of cutting off his sector of fire. So they're moving up. So right now, I don't know if you guys just saw this just now. Look where that muzzle's pointed. It's pointed to the sky. He brings his gun up, right? For no real reason, right? That's what the arrow's for. Getting a little bit ahead of myself. So this guy's muzzle's up. This guy's facing the same direction. No one's holding necessarily the flank. I mean, they could have support in the back, but no one's holding the flank. This guy's muzzle's up. This guy's holding this now, but this guy's muzzle's up, and they're about to hit the door, right? So this guy comes up and does the same thing he did at the prior section, right? Another arrow, another note here. He comes up, again, muzzle breaking the corner, not with his eyes, not with his eyes and muzzle, right? And this guy still has his muzzle up, not trained on the door, even though they're going to be making entry. And this guy totally exposes his backside to that open doorway. And these guys haven't even made entry yet. So now this guy is holding this way. They're about to make entry. This guy's gun is still up. This guy's trying to maintain good distance, which is good. He's got his hand out. He's doing that solid buddy team thing. The third guy's just hanging back. Fourth guy should be holding the rear, depending on, again, what kind of support you have. But they go to make entry, and now you see, as he's coming through, the muzzle's he's still not fully out, right? Like, you can see his gun is not, he's in the fatal funnel, his weapon is not in the fight yet. So he has totally breached the entryway, and now you see the muzzle start to come down, the rifle start to come back into his shoulder. See that? See right there? See how the gun comes, you see the elongation from the overhead view? That's how you know the muzzle's coming down. So you see more black coming down. So now his rifle's in his shoulder. He's completely in the room, and he's just now, potentially engaging. The other issue is, as we see, he's not wall body weapon, right? And he decides to button hook, right? If he was wall body weapon, he could lead with his eyes and his muzzle into this corner much more easily and effectively, and being able to put down a target here and way faster. He's going to expose way less of himself. So one man is potentially dead. Two man as he comes in, he's taking advantage of his weapon being in the right shoulder, right? And he knows his one-man button hook, so he's got to cross. So he's crossing. But as he crosses, you can see, literally as he comes in, the muzzle is facing this way. We can all see that, right? You guys can see this line. The muzzle is facing this way. So the muzzle actually never gets to the corner. He might clear it with his eyes, right? But it never fully makes it to the corner. I mean, it's still not bad, but I mean, again, if he would have like leaned in more and not exposed himself as much, right? So that's the other thing. His muzzle comes in before anything else, which is kind of okay. It just needs to be more flush with the angle he's about to clear, because right now, like, half of his body is exposed right here, but the muzzle hasn't made it to the corner. So that needs to be more flush. Like how it is now is how you should enter with the weapon system. So 3-man comes in. He immediately comes in. He's not wall body weapon. It is what it is. He punches out and clears the front. At this point, it's on the 1 and 2 man, especially the 1 man, since he's already been in there for a second and a half, that he needs to be calling out, hey, short room, blah, 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 right? They've already got 3 dudes in this room, and there's no need for a 4th. Absolutely. This guy should be helping this guy either watch this side, or if they don't have the support, he should be watching the flank, right? So now you've got, and potentially even this 3rd man wasn't really that necessary. So now they've got 4 dudes, and now the 5th guy leaves his sector of fire, turns his back on the one place that people could be coming from, faces inboard, right? Now he's exposed to his rear, and you've got 5 dudes now in this room. And then he's like, oh, this is awkward. So he turns back around, right? Because he knows he's like, shit, I gotta get back up and going. So now they start to file out. So now the one man takes back up the front. He's coming in. He's going to be followed by a new 2-man, right? So right here, he already knows from standing right here and being right here, especially as he comes this way. And as you come up, you can see this line right here. You can see this. This is a shadow. And on the back side, if there was, like, let's say there was light coming through a window and through the doorway, like, and even with that said, he was at this corner right here. So, like, he already knows there's a doorway right here that he would have already called out, right? And he knows there's a wall here too. So he already knows a general characteristic of this room, which means that he's gonna have a short wall to his left. Right now, as he's coming up, he's wall body weapon, right? Now it's good to be wall body weapon if you like basically already have it in your mind you're going to button hook. If you don't know the characteristics or you don't have anything else, but you have a general known characteristic and you are the 1 man, you want to clear the hard corner first, right? So like his hard corner is going to be as he enters to his right. It's going to be over here, going this way, right? It's going to be, if this is the doorway, this way. So this really should be in his other shoulder so that he can cross quickly, right? Because you're going to see, watch what happens. So he's going to come up, right? He's in the wrong shoulder. And then watch what happens. Because he's in the wrong shoulder, he's now actually exposing himself to the fatal funnel, right? In the direct front, the 90. He's breaking the 90 right here. You can see how it's getting brighter, right? Because there's an open doorway. See that? So he's broken the 90. He's exposed himself. The muzzle has not cleared this through this apex, right? He could have stepped out wide, cleared all of this without even ever having to have entered the room. And the only thing he'd have to clear is this. But instead, he comes in close, exposes himself to all of this. Look at this. And then he comes through muzzle leading without his eyes, right? So whoever's in this corner already has a heads up there that they're entering right now. They're starting to shoot. He's, coming through, and because he can't lean the weapon system in from his other shoulder, he's completely exposed, and the muzzle can't get to that corner until, boom, he's all the way in. Now that he's all the way made entry into the room, now he can clear the corner. That's why you change up your shoulders to go the direction that you're trying to go. Now the 2-man comes in. Obviously, he's just going to pick up that direct front, right? And they're hopefully calling out like, hey, short room cleared, whatever. So the next guy back here is following up. Now, if you guys can see this, again, see how there's a little bit of black right here? It means the weapon system is up, right? So this guy is actually moving up, and he's switching. So remember, they came from back here, right? These guys are coming out of here. So look at this. He's bringing the weapon system down as he's in the fatal funnel. This guy is just starting to go in, and he's dropping his weapon system and changing shoulders. You never change shoulders hardpoint to hardpoint. The last hardpoint was inside the room. The last safe spot was inside the room. You don't switch shoulders until you get to the next hardpoint. So he's switching shoulders. You can see the gun, the weapon system coming down, and now he's to that next hardpoint, which is here, so they can get up to this next hallway, this L-shaped hallway, right? And so he's wall body weapon. This is good, right? He's moving up. He gets the tap on the shoulder from the guy behind him, right? And so, but well, look what he starts to do. So he starts to move up, and see that hand come up, right there. He's reaching forward for the weapon system. That means that there's no hand on that trigger. There's no hand on the pistol grip. There's no way for him to engage. He's the one man, and he's taken himself out of the fight, right? So he comes up. Now he's got 2 hands on the front of the weapon system because he wants to switch shoulders again in the middle of movement, right? So just now he's got the other hand just made its way to the pistol grip. This guy punches out with him, and as soon as they come up, and he just had to readjust, he comes up, and now they're not crossfiring again. So now you've got a guy on the left and the guy on the right coming up, right? This guy comes out behind them. These guys are filing out of the room to join in, but they don't have this crossfire, right? This guy should be up a little bit further, holding this for this guy, because he can see deeper into this angle. This guy is screwed. There's no reason for him to be holding this side. He should be holding the other deep angle for his partner, right? So they're moving up. We're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. So this guy kind of leans out a little bit. Again, he's peeking the corner to his right, right? So this should be wall, body, weapon. The weapon should be on the outside so that he can get the fastest angle with his eyes, with his weapon system, into that next hallway, right? So we're going to continue. We come up. So this guy gets ready. This guy wheels around. So the other thing is, this should have been, when you come up to this T-shaped hallway like this, these 2 guys should have popped out simultaneously to clear both ways before they started making entry into this, because they have no idea what they're going to encounter here. For all they know, there's a guy waiting, but they pop out together. They start to clear this, and this guy could be like engaging. So this he's not even behind him. He's fucking done, right? And this guy might even be done too. All 3 of these guys could be done. We don't know. But that's why you peek and you clear those things to get the assessment first before you start moving ahead, right? And they're also, you can tell they're totally gaming the game on this, because he never even got to this point to know that there was a room here. So like they were just like moving into it. This is what happens when you go too fast. When you try to look sexy and you try to look fucking cool, this is the kind of shit that happens. So you get stacked up, and now, you know, you got 4 guys that are all moving together. So here's the next big portion of this. I'm gonna bring the exposure back down so you can see some of these lines I drew. So there's a line I drew right here, right? Because look what's happening. So this is another big rule in clearing buildings and clearing rooms. You never pass up a room before you clear the next one, because you don't know what's going to happen, right? So this doorway is in front of this doorway. So as this guy comes up, right, he's exposed again to a doorway to his back. This guy is not holding that doorway. Neither is this guy, and this guy can't engage that either. So everyone here is screwed by this doorway, right? This should have been picked up. This could have been called out back here. There should have been a 3rd guy up here helping hold this, so this guy could even peek that, right? Or this guy could have been just holding that and just saying, hey, like, until someone cuts up here to help me cover this, I can't even peek down here and see if there's a door or whatever else is going on down here, right? So like, this has to be picked up, and you would technically clear this first. You would cross and clear this first, and then clear this, because you don't want to, if you were to like skip a doorway, right, then you're giving the enemy you're giving up that opportunity to be cut off from the rest of your team. So this is a huge no-no. All right, so they come up and they go to clear this room simultaneously. This guy makes the same mistake as the guys before. Again, you're seeing this muzzle enter the room. I mean, granted, the one nice thing that he's actually doing is he's actually able to see the 90, but he's already exposing himself right here to the 90, right, without his eyes. Your eyes and muzzle need to go together. You lean in, clear the 90, don't break the plane, because if there's a guy standing right here, he's going to grab your fucking muzzle and you're going to be done, right? So right now his muzzle's getting grabbed, he's done. And he decides to button hook, which is fine, but again, look what's happening. Like, his eyes are not with his muzzle. He's just now getting to see into the corner, right? So if he like comes out wide and swings in, he's going to clear more of that faster and expose less of himself. So he steps in, comes in, he's fully in, he realizes a short wall. Okay, I come back. The 2-man comes in, again in the wrong shoulder, right? You guys have time. You can slow down. You can say, hey, this is the way that the door is. I'm going to do this. You know, that way he can switch shoulders and move on, right? So he comes in, he's exposed his barrel, he's exposed his shoulder and half of his body because he's having to wheel the weapon around. He's got to swim the weapon through the doorway instead of like just switching shoulders and leaning in. He's exposing a ton of himself to get into that corner, and he's half exposed right now, and the muzzle isn't even into the corner yet, right? It's short. He's cleared it with his eyes again, but the muzzle never made it there. So this is like complacency, right? Now we're going to look at the other side, right up here. So as we look at, as this is going on, right, these guys are making entry. Again, from this angle, these two dudes could be getting shot in the back. And again, this is why you don't pass up rooms. So this guy comes up. We'll see what he does. But he's in the fatal front. He's in the doorway, right? He's breaking the 90 right now. He's fully in the doorway. You can kind of see right there that the gun extends. So he kind of like punches out into this, and he's clearing this way. But if he was going to clear this way, again, the weapon in the wrong shoulder. If he was going to button hook or kind of go into this corner, the weapon should have been in his left shoulder, so he doesn't have to swim move. Or he could have even potentially ran the rabbit, and they could have cleared it in a different way instead of just like direct entry like that. So he goes in the corner. This guy comes up. He's got his weapon system pointed in that way. He's got it in the right shoulder, but he could have leaned over a little bit further into it. Not bad. This is actually one of the better corner clears that they did. So they come up. They realize, okay, the room is clear. This guy's still alone out here, just holding the flank, which is good. At least have somebody on that security. Now, as they come up, what happens is these guys come out, right? But these guys aren't done clearing. You can see down here, they couldn't get a wide enough angle shot. They should have pulled the drone back up a little bit further. But these guys have another room to clear. And so realistically, this guy doesn't need to come out here into the hallway because he's exposing himself to that huge fatal funnel that is that hallway, right? This guy's at least got some cover back here and he's holding, but now he's totally in the hallway, and he could have just held it from the doorway and have some extra concealment or cover depending on what kind of material the walls are made of, right? So he comes out. These guys are still clearing. Like, for all they know, like, they could have to go in after these guys, but they start to move forward beyond it. So both these guys now are exposed, right? Well, these guys are still clearing, and these guys are all just hanging out in a hallway, which is, again, not something you want to do. These guys clear what looks like a closet. He realizes it's short. We can't really see too much of how he gets in, but you can see just based on this last portion right here. So you can see that large step he took in, which means that he kind of lunged, and you can tell right here the rifle is in his right arm, right? And he knows that this only breaks this way because you can see the layout of the room from the interior. He should have put it in his other shoulder and peeked in. He goes in, it's short, whatever. His 2-man's like, okay, got it. He's coming back out. This camera wheels around. You can see all three of these dudes are just standing. This guy can be much further behind this corner. He does not need to be out in the open like this. And again, with these guys out here especially, right, this guy could be aimed this way, and this guy could be aimed that way. So these guys come up. This guy switches sides. They realize there's a room here, so he comes over to join this guy. They're going to clear this room. These guys come out. Again, they're both now holding this way. No one's even holding to their left side. So there's an entire sector that's not being picked up. So now I'm pointing this out. So like, again, he should be holding this door over here. This guy should be holding this door over here, and they could be moving up together, you know, if they were going to. But look what happens. So we start to move up, right? This guy doesn't have his weapon trained or anything. His weapon's up. This guy's weapon's up. This guy's weapon's up and not holding the flank. Again, I guess if you have support, then maybe it's clear. But look what happens here. So this guy is wall, weapon, body, right? They come up. His arm and muzzle are in the doorway. His eyes are not, right? If there's someone on the backside, muzzle's getting grabbed. He's getting dunzoed. And so is the guy behind him, and potentially this guy, because these guys are not focused on this, right? And they're doing it at the same time. So this guy's, if someone starts shooting through here, bullets, you know, bodies do not stop bullets, especially large bullets. And you have no idea what's on the other side of this. So that, again, they're running into that scenario right here. I draw the line. This is the top of this doorway, the end of this doorway, and it comes before the next doorway. So they're having clearing happening as they're moving beyond it. So if something happens to these guys, if there is support that needs to get to them, they're cut off, right, by one group or the other. So they move on. Again, this is the wrong shoulder. This guy is standing in the middle of a hallway and could at least be holding the front at some level, but has his weapon up. This guy has his weapon up as well, a little bit too far from this guy. As they come up, again, he's wall body weapon, but it decides to cross. If you're wall body weapon and you have an open doorway and you can see the wall right there, you should probably button hook and let the two-man pick up this short wall, because this is going to be the larger angle, the harder angle to clear, and you're already wall body weapon, so it's easier for you to button hook than it is for you to swim your rifle into that corner, right? So they come up. Again, this guy's all the way through. This guy's weapon's up. There's no one like he's holding the front, but he's in front of him, so he could still be holding the front before he enters. They come up. If you'll notice, this guy actually, you can see the weapon system kind of come up into view, which means he kind of like brought it up, and it never made the muzzle never made it to this corner. He might have cleared it with his eyes, but if you're just looking at something with your eyes and your muzzle's facing the other direction, you're not able to engage that fast enough. You're just not. So we're gonna keep going. We're gonna move up. So this guy comes up. You know, he's in the room. His two-man comes in. So the two-man actually does kind of the right move. Now, his weapon system is just getting into his shoulder now. So he button hooks, but you can kind of see the muzzle extend out. So like his muzzle was not up. You know what I mean? Like you can see it extend, right? So he's bringing it up. So he brings up his muzzle to clear it. But I mean, like by that time, it's probably too late. And this guy's alone in a hallway by himself, holding multiple angles, and it looks like other doorways. So he could have just hang out back here behind some cover, or could have backstepped into here and, you know, gotten out of that position, because this is terrible, right? There you go. Back here. So they realize it's clear. They step out. They join this this rear man who is holding their front. They all come out. This guy comes out, brings up his weapon. They're online. They're ready to go. This guy actually aims the correct direction. He goes to help this guy cover this, but his partner does not crossfire with him. So, and then for some reason he brings up his weapon system, so it's no longer. And this guy in the rear is holding the front. And again, we have an issue of dual clearing when it's not necessary. You can just wait, just slow down. Give your teams the opportunity to go in and send two guys into a room and have them clear and have them communicate, right? There's clearly not communication here, or they weren't taught proper communication, and they're going way too fast. Like, it's just a total kind of breakdown of basics of CQB. Now, there's tons of people that say, "Oh, you can clear this fast, you can blah 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 blah," but like, the reality is, again, there's also this idea of purpose. We've talked about this a lot because it is probably the most important portion to any of this idea of training. Is like, why are you training? In what scenario are you going to be using these types of techniques? Not these techniques, because understand something. When you go through most courses, I don't teach this because I personally, I mean, I have a totally different outlook, I think. But when you go through most tactical courses, or if you're going to get training, a lot of people teach direct action tactics, where, you know, it's focuses on, which is funny because it's not totally violence of action, because I teach a totally different course on that scenario, where it's just, you know, full on, no holds barred kind of deal. But in those scenarios or those tactics, like the people that are trained, like the military, for example, that are trained in these types of tactics, they're trained with the idea or the assumption that they are expendable. You are not expendable. You have a family to go home to. I always say the sexiest thing you can do, this all is cool and sexy and shit. It's all tactical. But the coolest and sexiest thing you can do is go home to your family at the end of the day. That's the coolest thing you can fucking do. So let's continue to watch this. So this guy goes to make entry, right? We're coming in. Boom. He's wall body weapon again. But as they come up, you see this? He has exposed himself to the 90. Weapon's down. The weapon starts to come up, but he's already broken the 90. He's already completely exposed to this open doorway, right? Completely exposed. He's fucking done. Guess who else is done? His fucking partner, because they're getting ahead of themselves. And maybe even this guy too, because he's exposed now. And the two guys not even through with him either. And his weapon's up, and he's not helping him hold the front either. So as this guy comes up, because he knows before he gets here that he's gonna cross, because he can see into that corner, right? And they already cleared behind them, so they know there's a wall here, so this is going to be short. Like, they know this. So why he doesn't change shoulders, lean in first, or even swing a little wider here, right? To expose, to get a full idea of what's in the room by slowing down and running the rabbit maybe, you know? He could clear more of the room without having to expose himself. So he's into the corner, great. Two-man is exposed, weapon still not up, just now getting into his shoulder as he is completely exposed to the 90. And he's starting to wheel around. These guys are now moving up, right? These guys are getting ready to clear. You can see this shadow. They know there's a doorway here. They're going to clear this. This is not totally cleared yet, right? Because this is all happening very fast. So these guys are in, right? 1, 2, and 3 are all in, right? This guy gets his weapon up. 3-man gets his weapon up really fast into this corner. But I mean, so whatever happened, like, they thought they needed 3 guys to go in all at once to clear this. And then the other side is just, it's clearing, right? I'm pointing out there's a 3rd guy in the room that's not really necessary. And now there's no one holding the flank, potentially, if there wasn't enough support. And there, you know, it's a fairly large building. So someone should be maybe holding the flank in case maybe they miss something, especially going that fast. So as they come up, you'll notice, again, that this is just now getting cleared. Like, if these guys would have taken contact or gotten taken down, these guys would have been stuck here and cut off if there wasn't like an exit, you know what I mean, for them to keep going. So as they come up, we can't really see how the 1-man clears this, but if we go back, right here, we see he's wall, weapon, body. So we know that as we get up to this point up here, he came in, and because he goes to this corner, we know that this is probably the correct move, right? We couldn't, I mean, he more than likely, because none of these guys have leaned in, we can assume he didn't lean in, but he at least went to the proper corner. But the 2-man right here, right, we can see it, we can literally see right here, his muzzle, right, is in front of the sun, right? So we know that the he's over the shadow. So like right now he's exposed to the 90, right? We can see this right here. His muzzle, elbow, has light on it. Like, he's exposed to the 90, but his weapon is pointed like into his buddy's back. Basically, it's not. In fact, I don't even think it's up. So again, he's entering the room without a weapon system up in the fight, and he's wall weapon body, which means he can't really do this button hook, and that's why you're seeing the whole body. He's doing like a complete 180 with his body to enter in, and then bring the weapon system up, right? So he's exposed the entire left side of his body to get into this corner, which is good. I mean, like, that was the fastest way he could have done it, but he could have done it a lot faster if he was wall body weapon. If his partner says, "Hey, I'm crossing," okay, that means you're button hooking. That means fucking change up your shoulder because that's the corner you're going into, right? So he gets it up finally. They're realizing the room is clear. So this guy comes back out on the other end. You can actually tell right here. This is weapon system facing this way. So he's wheeling back around. No one's actually seeing anything that's back here. And because of the way they move out of these rooms, we're assuming that this is a continuation. So this guy comes back out with his weapon system pointed behind. He's exposing himself. Or sorry, he turns it around. That's my bad. So he comes out, gets his weapon system up. But he could have just held here for a second, right? Like, there isn't a reason for him to be the first moving piece as it ends. He could have waited here for these guys to get done clearing and come back to here and say, "Hey, we're good," and then they could move out, potentially in a pair or together, or they could maybe see maybe into this corner if this was a continuation, for example, like if there was more hallways here or whatever the case is, then they could have like worked together and passed more comms back or whatever. But with that said, that's basically the end of the video. And as you can see, it really comes down to the speed, taking things slower, obviously communication, and then there's just some really big fundamental stuff that like you're gonna miss out on and lose when you go at that speed. And those fundamental things, to me personally, I think are more important than doing things quickly. Obviously, there are times when time is of the essence, and you got to move quickly. But when you have that many unknowns, if you're having to clear every single room, right, then you have to slow down, because if the threat could be in any of those rooms, you're enabling yourself to be cut off. Like, you're giving them an advantage by going that quickly, right? You're giving them an advantage by taking your hand off your pistol grip and making yourself unable to engage. You're giving them the advantage by not working together with your teammate or not having the right sectors of fire. There's all these little things that go into CQB. It's not just run through rooms and fucking look cool doing it. It's one of the most dangerous things you can do in any combative scenario, right? Like, CQB and MOUT is just a fucking shit show. It's fucking hell. You know what I mean? Like, you will lose people. So you want to do whatever you can to minimize that scenario. You want to be as safe as possible and take your time, because at the end of the day, like, you just have to. Like, and another thing with slowing down is it allows you to get more clear communications and a more clear, like, conceptualized idea of what's coming next, right? Now, these guys have probably ran through this shoot house I don't know how many times. You know what I mean? And maybe they were just showing like how fast they could do it semi-tactically, But at the end of the day, like, I think this is a big problem with the tactical community right now. And this is my personal opinion, is that it's more about looking cool than it is actually doing things that are correct, or doing things in a way that are actually beneficial to the person training, or training them in a way that is beneficial to them, right? Because, and this goes back again to purpose, like, most civilians are probably never going to need to clear a room. God forbid they ever have to fucking use these types of skills. You want to teach them skills that are beneficial. I would say that a lot of these types of things are not beneficial because they're way too fast. They're built, these tactics usually are built for like, you know, again, the idea that the person performing them are expendable. You know, like to me, running the rabbit is great. I mean, it might place you outside of the doorway a little bit longer, but like at the end of the day, like if you don't have to clear a room, don't fucking do it. There's literally, you want to do everything you can to not clear a room, to not clear a building, to not go into that scenario. If you absolutely had to, if there's no way around it, if you're either in a building and you got to get out and the only way to get out is by clearing it, or if there's just some other reason that is dire that you absolutely have to go in and clear shit, then like you want to do so in the safest way possible. And that means getting as much information from inside of a room, from the exterior of the room, as often as you can, because you want to go into every room with every advantage that you can, right? Whether it's information gathering, whether it's like, you know, peeking into the room, you know, running the rabbit across, because again, everyone's like, oh, well, you could be shot running the rabbit. Yeah, you could be. But that if you could have been, then guess what? You're also going to get shot entering that fucking room. And would you rather enter the room and as you're entering, you get shot and you fall into the room and now you're just fucking laying there fucking limp, hopefully not bleeding out. And like, even if you are, like, you're still a target, like that's easily re-engaged. Or do you want to maybe take a shot as you're crossing, but you're on the exterior, and if you've got somebody with you, maybe they can engage that target from outside, lay down some cover fire, and maybe get to you. Because if you fall down inside, you're probably done, right? It's gonna be much harder for your friendly or your teammates to get to you if you're on the inside of the room and they're on the outside of the room. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many factors that I think that people don't really consider when it comes to this kind of shit, right? With that said, I'm gonna end this Tactical Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope I gave you guys some ideas about how to kind of rethink the way that you're doing or performing these, like doing your training or performing these types of functions, and slow down, man. Focus on doing things correctly. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I will fucking live and breathe and die by that, because it is a fundamental thing. You have to have practice. And everyone's like, oh, practice makes perfect. No, absolutely not. Because if you're out there practicing the wrong fucking shit like this, it's going to get you killed. Perfect practice makes perfect. You got to practice the right fucking thing. Because if you drill into your head, just going fast and doing all these things, you're going to fuck it up. You're going to do these types of things. At every single function, it has to be practicing the right way to do things. Because if you practice the right way to do things, when you got to fall back on that training, you're going to do the right thing. But if you practice something else, it's good to have other tools in your toolkit, but you have to that comes with a lot of training, right? You have to have the fundamentals first before you can add all the other crazier things. And you have to have the mental for it. You have to have that combat mindset and know when you can and can't use certain things, or when you should and shouldn't, right? It's a lot of decision making that has to go into those scenarios. So again, I hope that I taught you guys something. I hope that you learned something from this video. Again, this wasn't to pick on anybody or anything like that. It's just about knowledge base, and I want to try to help people with that. So with that said, I will see you guys tomorrow for Weapons Wednesday. And again, I can't thank you guys enough, honestly, for all of the love and support I've gotten from you guys so far. We had a huge viral video go up on TikTok. We're still growing on YouTube, which is like my main goal. But yeah, it's just been awesome. You guys have been great. And I just want to thank you guys again for just all of your love and support. So again, see you guys Weapons Wednesday. I'm going to get out of here. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome night. Stay safe. As always, stay loose. Battle on. And if you bitch in your heart, it'll show.